Well, hello movie lovers everywhere, you're watching Craig the Critic, and today we're going to talk about the film Source Code with Jake Gyllenhaal. This edgy sci-fi thriller came out recently on DVD, and I've been really eager to watch this movie because I like sci-fis, I like thrillers, and I even like Jake Gyllenhaal sometimes. So if you don't know anything about this movie, let me start by giving you a quick synopsis. A bomb explodes on a Chicago train, killing hundreds. In an attempt to identify the bomber and prevent another larger attack on downtown Chicago, Captain Colter Stevens takes part in a clandestine government experiment dubbed Source Code, which allows him to enter the mind of a male passenger during the 8 minutes before the man is killed. But during the first trip back, Captain Stevens fails to gather enough clues to prevent the second attack. With time quickly running out, he repeats the mission ad nauseum in a desperate race to stop one of the worst terrorist attacks to happen on American soil. This film does have a great science fiction premise, the idea of traveling back in time, but in a very finite and limited way, and also with the idea that, based on what we know about quantum physics, he actually can't change the future, which is why the mission is to find out information about the attacker and the attacker's plans, and then come back to present time, which is immediately after the train crash, but hours before the second attack. And so the military is trying to find this information through this program Source Code using Captain Stevens, Jake Gyllenhaal. And it's a really exciting ride from beginning to end. I can't complain there. It keeps you on the edge of your seat, and it's really well made. Great directing, fantastic acting. I've got to give it to Jake Gyllenhaal. He does an excellent job at really keeping the emotion of this story at the forefront of the action. Because the script really needed an actor to be able to keep the energy up there. I think if the acting was any less, if it was any less convincing, that actually this movie would probably fall apart. Because the plot line is pretty simple. The sci-fi concepts, while exciting and interesting, actually don't go that far beyond the basic premise. So it was a good thing Gyllenhaal was at the top of his form, because he really does help to make this movie entertaining and exciting. Now, with a great premise, great acting, excellent directing, I have to say I was disappointed by this movie. I was disappointed because the premise was so strong, so exciting, and so interesting that I was expecting so much more to happen. Unfortunately, I could see what was going to happen 5 minutes, 10 minutes, even at the very end of the film, well before it got there. I figured out who the bad guy was, like, instantly. I figured out what was going to happen each time Captain Stevens went back on another mission. Of course, you know he's going to get just a little bit more information. He's going to get a few more clues. And I kept figuring that out each trip. And even the end, the twist, was way too obvious, way too early in the film. And it was not a surprise. And I kept sitting there going, okay, that twist happened. I knew that was happening. But there's got to be another twist. There's got to be something more. And there wasn't. The problem with this film is while it promises to mess with your mind, it doesn't. It's interesting. It's entertaining. It's exciting. But ultimately, if you're a fan of sci-fi, you will be disappointed, I promise. Now, if you don't care about sci-fi and the basic premise just excites you from beginning to end, hey, you'll probably like this movie. For me, Craig the Critic, I was disappointed. I loved it. I wanted to love it. But ultimately, because of how the story pans out and how the script plays out, the supposed twists, I really wish that it had done more because I think it could have done a lot more. So while it was an interesting film, ultimately Source Code is a dud. But that's just what I think. Let's hear what you think. Take a moment to leave a comment down below, perhaps add a video response. Whatever it is, I'd like to hear your thoughts. If you think I'm whacked out for my opinion, tell me why. Because I did want to love this movie, and if you can convince me otherwise, then I'm open to it. In the meantime, I'm Craig the Critic. Thank you for checking this out, and we'll see you next time.